the founder of Life Song Kenya. The inspiration behind Life Song Kenya started off as a reading club, and the idea was to encourage, especially boys, to take up reading. Yeah, we live in a country where most people read just like for to pass exams, but I wanted to encourage children, especially boys, to take up reading, to enjoy reading, so that they can get to understand more. So I grew up in a village called Semekadero. So it's a village sandwiched between Kisumu County and Siaya County. So when I was 13 years old, my dad died. And immediately my dad died, I needed to find inspiration. I needed to find a father figure, and I could not find this father figure until I started reading. The first book that I got into reading was called Think Big, and Think Big really helped me to discover the things that I had inside of me, to just help and back them. So when I was in primary school, my goal was to become a writer and a journalist. And through even high school, that was my goal. However, after finishing my high school, I did not have enough money to go to college. And so I used to focus a lot on the things that I lacked, the things that I didn't have. When I came to Nairobi after dropping out of college. So after dropping out of college, I decided to now pick up that thing that I had, which was to become a writer. I came to Nairobi, started going to libraries, reading more, joining people who are writers. And then in 2005, I got arrested. I was staying with a friend of mine who was not who was not a good guy. So I got arrested and stayed in at the police station for 8 days. So these 8 days really changed my life completely, because now I focused more on the thing that I had, which was now when I was growing up, I wanted to become a writer and a journalist. So I left this police station, went back to normal life, and I forgot about this goal. I forgot about this goal in terms of I started focusing more on the things that I don't have. So there's this friend of mine who I also met in church, and she started just encouraging me to apply for jobs as a journalist. So I was able to gather enough courage, and I applied to work as a TV producer. And I got this job opportunity at KBC TV, and I started working as a TV producer for children's programs. So my role was to visit schools, prepare children for shoots, and also make sure that now when we do now the shoots, the children are ready, they're all psyched up for the shoot, and they're doing the right things. And I was really thriving. So another colleague of mine at work, because of now my focus, because now back then I used to talk a lot about reading, boys and fathers. So this friend of mine told me about boys at the Nairobi Remand Prison. So when I went to the Nairobi Remand Prison, I had a lot of excuses and reasons why I was not going to start it off immediately. But when I went to prison and I met the boys, the 100 boys at the cell block, the 100 boys, and I just saw myself in them. I saw myself in them. When I was growing up, I needed a father figure. I had excuses. I was surrounded also with lack. So I began meeting these boys every Friday, which was my off day from work. And that's how Life Song Kenya started. The initial idea was to go to prison, talk to the boys, inspire them, share my life story, how I started making it. But I realized that the more I was meeting the boys, I realized that many of them were not interested in reading because they just wanted to get out of prison. And so I shifted now my focus. Now instead of focusing on developing an interest for reading, I started now meeting their parents, meeting the people that they've wronged, and also meeting the police officers who had arrested them. And so as time went by, instead of now reading, I was now focusing more on restorative justice, just restoring their relationships with their parents, police officers, and the people who they had wronged. Just like a lot of organizations, there are a lot of challenges that we faced. I mean, we still face challenges, yes, But initially, the challenges that we had from the beginning were from the parents themselves, whereby now, okay, they're wondering, like, why are you bothering with my son when I've written him off? Like, my son is useless, my son is up to no good, my son is a criminal. So the first challenges was the attitude of the parents towards their children. The other one also was the attitude of, okay, the second challenge was the attitude of the boys themselves, the attitude that they had about themselves, about the society, and about their future. So most of the boys, you found that now they're very negative about themselves and about their lives in general. The third challenge was from the society. Like, in most cases in Kenya, and I think from the rest of the world, when someone is in prison, most people treat them like with a lot of stigma, with a lot of suspicion. So that was also one of the biggest challenges, that even myself and even part of our volunteers also were facing stigma. Like, we were being looked at as people who are working with criminals. The fourth challenge was to do with finances. Like, because this work has a lot of stigma, no one wants to support. So the support is very minimal. Along the way, I had to quit my job to focus on doing this. So one of the challenges that I had personally was the fact that I could not support myself. I didn't have enough money to support the program. I was jobless. At some point, I was also homeless. So that was also a challenge. That was also like another challenge. Also, lack of professional training, because I was not a trained psychologist or a counselor. I had a few friends of mine who were supporting the work. So they would like raise bus fare. Some of them would support me, like personally pay for my rent. I also decided also to start learning more about the issues that the boys are facing, and also how to mitigate these issues. So I had to start learning how to be a life coach. The other thing that I also learned was also how to develop websites. Yeah, so I actually learned how to develop a website, so that now, so I developed a website for even live song. After meeting the boys in prison, the first thing that I thought about was like how they get out of prison and where do they go to. So we started working on an idea to have a halfway house, and so back in 2018 we started working on a halfway house. So the idea for the halfway house was to be a place whereby the boys who they've either been rejected by their families, or they need more time to reconcile with their families and the people that they've wronged. So the idea was for them to come and stay with us for at least 3 months. However, after we started having this halfway house in 2021, we started now meeting boys who had been neglected, exploited, or sexually abused. And so we shifted now our focus now on working with boys who have been who are coming out of prison, but now to all boys. And so this is something that I'm very proud of, and at the same time also very scared about, because I mean, it now like throws everything like in the air. Like, there's so much to deal with, and I've come to understand that boys are dealing with a lot. That boys are very vulnerable. They're also facing stigma, and also they are also facing trauma. Some trauma that began way back when they were little boys. So you find that now, a good example is that now you find that now we can start working with a boy who's 25 years old, but we're dealing with things that they started dealing with when they were when this young man was a little boy. So for me, that's the most exciting and the scary part also. I think I can term the halfway house as the heart of life song, because that is where everything is happening. So we have the halfway house where so we have it's a 3-bedroom house where we have beds that are enough for 16 boys. And also at the halfway house also we have so we have poultry, we are rearing rabbits, we are rearing dairy goats. Also we are recycling wine, we're recycling wine bottles. The other thing that we do at the halfway house also is that we run a cycling hub, whereby now we are training boys and young men how to fix a puncture, how to repair a bicycle. So for me, I think my best project at Lifesong is the halfway house, because it's where everything else is running. My vision for Lifesong Kenya is to be a place whereby boys and young men can find healing, they can find hope, and they can bounce back in life. It's a place whereby now when a boy walks in, however broken they are, and when they walk out, they walk out with their heads held high, and they are ready to take on life issues. Yeah. And and I think for this to happen, we need like to have our own land where we can build our own halfway house, whereby now we can structure it the way this healing place looks like. So one of our goals is to be at a place whereby we are self-sufficient, at a place whereby we are not just over-relying on donors. Yeah, I mean, for things like paying rent, buying food, buying underwear, buying clothes, and taking boys taking boys back to school. So, and this can happen when so when we have businesses. So, my goal is to like have businesses whereby now we can not only generate income but also create jobs for our boys and young men, because jobs and income is a very big issue for them. The other thing also is to have land, is to have a huge tract of land whereby now we can build our halfway house and also have a gym, have a school, have all these things that we wish, have all these things and facilities that can enable these boys to heal and restore. You might be wondering how you can get involved. Indeed, our success depends on people like you. So to support us and to get involved, you can come on board as a donor, as a mentor, as a volunteer, or as someone who can just come and train us on skills development, or as a cyclist. You can even join our fundraising team and cycle with us. So to donate to us, so you can find links on our across our websites where you can donate to us. Also locally, you can support us through our M-Pesa pay bill number, which is 574329, and account. You can write whatever you want. You can write maybe your name or whatever you're supporting with. You can find us online. We are on social media and also on our website. So just search for Lifesong Kenya. So on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, just search for Lifesong Kenya, and you'll be able to find us. Make sure that you follow us online and on social media, where we will be posting our stories, our challenges, our victories, and our vision and our mission for making the world a better place for not only boys and young men, but for all humanity.